Greetings, it's Iain from RTO. I hope you all have a great weekend. Here we go again. More rankings, more music, more live streams. And we're starting off this week with the solo career of a certain Mr. David Coverdale. Yes, he did have time to make some albums in between Whitesnake. We're looking at two that he did before Whitesnake, one that he did in the middle, and an honourable mention for one that's a mixture of solo and Whitesnake. So he's made three solo albums, and they're all very good. When Deep Purple split, he went back into the studio very quickly, and within a year of Deep Purple splitting, he had released an album. So we're going to look at these three albums. So coming in at number 3, this is David Coverdale's first solo album, simply called Whitesnake, released in 1977. Obviously the name Whitesnake would be used. It was David Coverdale's Whitesnake, and then just shortened to Whitesnake. So who appears on this album? Well, we have David Coverdale, of course. Mickey Moody was on guitars. Tim Hinckley was organs and vocals and percussion. Ron Asprey was saxophones. Deslyle Harper bass. Roger Glover appears on here with bass and synthesizer and vocals and production. Simon Phillips, yes, Mr. Simon Phillips again, on the drums. Backing vocals were done by Lisa Strike, Helen Chappell and Barry St. John. Okay, first track on this album is called Lady. I like this track because it's got Mickey Moody playing guitars on it, and this is sort of in between, leaving that funky, soulful Deep Purple and before going into the hard rock blues of Whitesnake. It's smack bang in the middle of these two genres. It's a little bit too funky for Whitesnake, but it's not as soulful as the last Deep Purple album that he did, Come Taste the Band. But it's an enjoyable track, really good track. Then we get Blind Man. Yes, this is the same Blind Man that will appear on Whitesnake later, but this is just a very early version of the song. It's a little bit more stripped down, but I do like it. I love the track Blind Man anyway, but this version is just very stripped back, but still a great track, as we know. Goldie's Place is the next track. This is a mixture of the two sort of music genres that David Coverdale was fusing. You've got the soul and funk of Deep Purple, and then you've got this bluesy sound coming in. Mickey Moody's guitar work on that track is pretty cool. It's a solid track. Then we get a title track just called Whitesnake. Now this is starting to sound like that sound of Whitesnake that we would come to love. The guitar work for Mickey Moody is good. David's singing is pretty strong on this. It really is a good track, laying the foundations of what was to come. Time on My Side, definitely that sound that he was continuing with, that would become the early Whitesnake albums. Great vocal from David on that, solid song. Peace Loving Man, this is a nice bluesy track. Some really nice piano work on here from I think it was Tim Hinckley. Very, very good track. You know, again, we're starting to get that lovely flow of bluesy work. Sunny Days, again, this is a little bit all over the place, to be quite honest. It's not a bad track, but there's brass in it and rock, and it's sort of, I don't know which way I really want to go yet. It's got that feel to it, but it's still it's a good song, don't get me wrong, but it's just a little bit confusing in places. Hole in the Sky, just the piano and David, really bluesy, soulful song, really good. Then we get Celebration. This could have come straight off Stormbringer, to be quite honest. It's a good track. You know, it's got that sound that you got with the Stormbringer album, and I like that track because I do like Stormbringer as an album. And it's a really good way to end the album. It is a good album. I don't dislike it, but he is at a juncture in his career. What way to go? Would we still stick with that later Deep Purple sound from Stormbringer and Come Taste the Band, or will we go into the more bluesy rock that became Whitesnake? But it doesn't spoil the listening. I do like listening to this album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have the third solo album and his most current solo album, Into the Light, released in 2000. It was after a little bit of a hiatus with Whitesnake, because the album Restless Hearts We Know should have been a solo album, but it was for contractual reasons. His label forced him to release it under the Whitesnake moniker. But this was purely a David Coverdale solo album. First track is a very short little instrumental piece. There's lots of people playing on here. I think Adrian Vandenberg appears, and it's just a big list. There's not the same musicians on all the tracks, so that's why I haven't done the list. So this first little piece is called Into the Light. Nice little piece of guitar work on this. Pretty good. River Song's next. This is my favourite track on the album. It's got some really nice driving bluesy rock riffs, nice keyboard sound, very rich and deep. I love that bluesy rock sound. She Give Me. I think this is quite clever. To start with, it's a very bluesy guitar and vocal that's coming through. It's playing on a little transistor radio, and then all of a sudden it changes like into the studio. I love tracks that do that. It's a very catchy tune. It's a bit of a foot tapper. Excellent track. Don't You Cry. This is a slow track and a quite romantic track, and I think this is pretty good. It's a lot better than some of the slow commercial songs from Whitesnake at the time. He sounds great on this. It's a really, really strong track. Love Is Blind. Again, this starts off with a very quiet, with some nice keyboard and strings. I like the track. It's really good. Slave. This is good. Good old-fashioned rocker from David. Love the guitar riffs in this. Strong. His voice does sound good. Cry for Love. Oh, this is good old-fashioned Whitesnake. Something that was around the mid-80s, you know, anything from that, from Ready and Willing and Come and Get It, Saints and Sinners era. Pretty strong track, and I love that one to death. Living on Love. Again, this is going back to them glory days of Whitesnake. It was so nice to hear these songs done in that style. That's really, really good. Midnight Blue. Not the best track on the album for me. It has got a nice guitar solo, and this is more like that modern sounding Whitesnake ballad. Too Many Tears. Now this is a great track written by David Coverdale and Adrian Vandenberg. It's one of his well-known tracks. It appears on that acoustic live album that he done. It's a great song. Always enjoy listening to that one. Don't lie to me. Bit of a filler, this song. It's not very good. Wherever you may go. This is like listening to Soldier of Fortune off from Deep Purple, and I do like that track. Good way to end the album. That little the wish you well sort of thing, very short piece right at the end of the album. I think this is a really good album. I think this is better than Restless Heart, without a doubt. Given the choice, but if there was a battle between Restless Heart and Into the Light will win, because I think the songs are better. David sounds a lot better. He sounds relaxed on this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay then, my number one David Coverdale solo album is his second one that he released in March '78, just before all the Whitesnake stuff come out, and it's called Northwinds. We got David Coverdale on here again, Mickey Moody on the guitars, Tim Hinckley, Alan Spenner is now on bass, Tony Newman is drums, Roger Glover is synthesizer, clarinet, cowbell and production, Graham Prescott plays the violin, we've got Lee Brule on harmonica, and backing vocals on Give Me Kindness is done by a certain Mr. Ronnie James Dio and his good lady Wendy. First track is Keep Giving Me Love. Brilliant song. I love that funky bass line in this. It's a really good song. I love that song to death. Northwinds. Again, this is going back to that soulful sound that we had on Stormbringer. Really nice track. Some nice guitar work on this. Strong track. Then we get Give Me Kindness. This is a great track. Soulful and some lovely backing vocals from Mr. and Mrs. Dio on this. Absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic track. Just it's amazing that all these bands are all connected some way. You know, Ronnie James Dio also did Rainbow, Black Sabbath, but you know he's worked with Richie, so has David. They all sort of thing, and you got Roger part of Rainbow. You know, it's all there. That family, the Deep Purple family, is still strong. Next track is called Time and Again. Again, I love the keyboards, and this is just one of the soulful, really nice song. Queen of Hearts, definitely get that Whitesnake sound, that piano, like we've got Wine Winneman's song, and it's got that feel to it, and it's a fantastic track. Only My Soul, it's a sort of a blind man track, Child of Babylon, Ain't Gonna Cry No More sort of thing. Yeah, I love the bass in this. It's got some violin in it, and it just adds to the track. Say You Love Me, David's vocal on this is fantastic. It's one of these bluesy rock tracks. It's really, really good. My favourite track is the last track, Breakdown. I've heard this is a song that it went into the Whitesnake, into their early shows. I love the keyboard solo on this. Guitar work from Mickey Moody is brilliant. Now this actually reminds me, and I think this is where I got the idea from. Remember the film Stir Crazy? You know, we did the soundtrack, and there's a track on there called All Over the World Tonight, and the keyboard and guitars are just very similar to what you get with Breakdown. Fantastic way to the album, great rocker. As I said, this is a great album. I love listening to this. This is more what we was going to get in Whitesnake, and a lot of these tracks that style you would hear in Whitesnake. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, not ending today because I've got an honourable mention. Now the reason this is in, because we've done the Whitesnake studio albums, we've now just done David Coverdale. Now there is an album that sits in between Northwinds and Trouble. It's a combination of Whitesnake and David Coverdale solo stuff, and it's an album called Snakebite, and it's credited to David Coverdale's Whitesnake. Now you got the tracks that were on the album on Northwinds, got some of them tracks that was released in March 78. And then you've got, you remember the Whitesnake EP, that was released in June 78. And towards the end of 78, they put this out. They combined the EP and some tracks off Northwinds. So the first tracks are ones from the EP, and on there we've got that first lineup of Whitesnake: David Coverdale, Mickey Moody, Bernie Marsden, Neil Murray, David Dowell and Pete Solly. And the last tracks of the same people that were on Northwinds: David Coverdale, Mickey Moody, Tim Hinckley, Alan Spenner, Tony Newman, Lee Brulou and Roger Glover. So on this, I'm not ranking this, I'm just going to mention this because it's got some great tracks on it. We got the brilliant Come On studio version of the track that opens up the live album. Great track, love that track. Great guitar riffs from both Mickey Moody and Bernie Marsden. Love that, love the bass line on that. Then you got Bloody Mary, which is again one of them piano starts like Queen of Hearts and Wine Williams song, that sort of sound, really really good. Then we get the classic cover of Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Great track, might be a cover, but it's a Whitesnake anthem and it's still sung today. And then the last track on this EP it's probably one of my favourite Whitesnake tracks ever. It's Steal Away. I love Mickey Moody's slide guitar. There's a bit of this that, if you've got that live album Ain't No in the Heart of the City, you've got in Love Hunter you get that slide guitar solo, and this is where that comes from. It's brilliant. And then you pick the best tracks, I think, off Northwinds: Keep On Giving Me Love, Queen of Hearts, Only Need My Soul and Breakdown. I had to mention it because this is the Step Between album, combining both bits, the best of Northwinds and that EP, and then we went and got Trouble, and the rest is history, of course. Okay, that's all for Mr. DC today. I'll be back later with classic album review, and we're doing something that was sort of discussed in a live stream about doing some more soundtracky type stuff, and I thought, okay, we'll start off with probably one of the best soundtracks, rock opera, The Who's Tommy. So join me for that later. Bye for now.